Hello and welcome to my channel Avan Angels. My name is Helena and today I would like to kind of share a video which I posted last year and then I decided to delete it because I decided to start posting about my ADHD experiences and my theories about ADHD. And I basically deleted the other videos that I had on this channel, one of which was about manifesting. Now, manifesting and law of attraction and mindset has been pretty much helping me to go through life somehow smoothly. It helped me to most of the time keep like a positive mindset, even though, I was struggling a lot with so many different things. And the reason why I want to kind of post this video again, but with this explanation, is because watching it back, I filmed this video about 2 or 3 months before finding out I was ADHD. It was just such a breakthrough that I was gobsmacked and everything in my life started to make sense. But in this video, I am talking about manifesting, but I am kind of talking about my experience at school and what it was like. I see it so clearly, like all the struggles that I had with all those things that I mentioned. And I thought it would be useful for people to see, people who think that they might be ADHD, or people who have loved ones that are ADHD, or people who are already diagnosed or know that they are ADHD and they can relate to my story and they can maybe feel a little bit less alone, because I know that I feel less alone with when people tell me that they go through certain things that I go through. So I decided to re-upload it, and if it's too woo-woo for you, then, well, I guess it's what it is. It's something that really happened, and not just with the school. It happened many times with many things. That's why I'm saying, like, it's a big thing in my life. I know it works, even if it's just from the quantum physics point of view or like the psychological point of view. And I also wanted to mention, if you are neurodivergent and you have a story that you would like me to share on this channel, I know this channel is very small. It's probably gonna have like 5 views. But if you would like to share it, I would be honored to read it out loud for other people to hopefully relate. So if you feel like this could help you or other people or everybody, then I'm gonna leave my email address in the description box and you can send me an email with your story, or you can send me a DM on Instagram. And I'm gonna stop talking now and I'm gonna show you this story of mine. Today's video is something really personal. It's a story I have never told fully before, and honestly, even saying it out loud feels really surreal, because I want to share how I, a girl with dyslexia who skipped school constantly and basically sabotaged her way through education, still managed to finish school. And I truly, deeply believe that I manifested it. Now, let me take you back to when I was a child. Learning was never easy for me. I struggled with reading, writing, counting, all the things that school just expected me to get, but I didn't get them. I remember being the girl who was always behind, the one who couldn't quite catch up. Later in life, I found out I was dyslexic. But back then, the label didn't really exist in a way that we understand it now. There weren't specialists, and the teachers didn't really know how to support kids like me. Instead, they told my mom I was stupid, really, that I wasn't clever, that I wouldn't get very far in life because I just wasn't able to catch up. I was always falling behind. And let me tell you, that kind of message, it goes deep, when you are a child. But my mom, she was an angel. She refused to send me to a special school, and not because she didn't want me to have support, but because back then these schools or special classes weren't designed to help children learn. They were more like holding places for children who had behavioral problems. and I was just a struggling little girl. So instead of giving up, my mom sat with me every single day. She would read to me, write with me, count with me, help me understand the lessons in a way that made sense. She basically became my personal teacher. I remember she was exhausted and she cried a lot, but she gave it her whole heart and she never lost hope in me. And thanks to her, I stayed in school with my friends in the regular system, and slowly I began to find my way. Then something changed around the age of 13 or 14. I started to read teen romance novels. You know, the kind of books that are all about drama and crushes and love. Everything that a teenage girl dreams of. Well, maybe not the drama. And for the first time ever, I actually wanted to read. And because I wanted to read, I kept going. Little by little, it helped. I wasn't fluent, and sometimes I struggled, especially when I was tired. But it was the first time reading didn't feel impossible. It's amazing how just finding something you enjoy can unlock a whole new part of you. Math, on the other hand, still no. To this day, not my thing. And it's okay, I'm alright with that. Then came high school, and things started to be even more chaotic, both on the outside and also on the inside. I didn't even want to go to a business school. I wanted to be a hairdresser or an actress or study art. I wanted to do something creative and expressive. But my parents, as supportive as they were, gently nudged me into a more practical direction. They wanted me to be safe and stable and have options in life. I vividly remember my dad telling me, just imagine all the skirts and blouses you're gonna wear and how smart you're gonna look and how important you're gonna be. And that was it. That sold it for me. I imagined myself in a suit, like a businesswoman. I was like, okay, then I'll try. So I went. I enrolled into a business manager program. But the truth was, throughout my high school years, I was carrying a lot inside. I struggled silently with disordered eating, various addictive behaviors, and long periods of emotional numbness and depression. And the more I avoided school out of fear, the more anxious and disconnected I felt. It just became a vicious cycle. I skipped school because I felt overwhelmed, but the more I skipped, the more behind I fell. And the more behind I got, the more ashamed and anxious I felt. I wasn't just lost academically, I was lost emotionally too. I barely did homework and I just drifted through the days. I was flaky, inconsistent, and exhausted. Eventually I failed year 3 and I had to repeat it. And the 4-year program became 5 for myself. And all that time I was just trying to survive it. Now here is where things get interesting. One of the subjects that I was struggling with the most was accounting. From day one, I just didn't get it. It was like a foreign language. Then just a few months before the final exam, something happened. A good friend of mine, Lenka, who had already finished school, sat down with me and went through all the accounting with me. She explained everything, not just what to do, but also why. I could ask as many questions as I needed, and she was so patient with me. It took a few days, but she gave me context and helped me understand it in a way that finally made sense. And suddenly I got it. It was like a light bulb moment. After years of failing, I was actually good at accounting. I was amazing, in fact. I completely understood the structure, the logic, everything. And I could even explain it to somebody else. And it made me think, maybe I wasn't stupid after all. Maybe I just needed the right kind of help. Now let's fast forward to the final weeks of school, the time of the big exam, the one that you need to pass to graduate. And if you don't, then you will probably not be able to get a decent job, even if it's not in this field of study. That's just how it works in our country. And I was so far from ready. I had procrastinated again. I sabotaged myself again, just like I always did. Now I understand that procrastination and self-sabotage aren't just laziness or lack of discipline. They are fear. They are inner resistance. They are protective patterns trying to keep you from failing by making sure that you never even try. But at that time, I didn't understand that. I just knew that I left it all too late. About 3 weeks before the final exam, I finally started to study. But 3 weeks is way too short to catch up on 4 years of material, especially when you have barely any notes and a brain full of anxiety. I tried my best, I really did, but I couldn't focus. I didn't know how to study and I didn't even understand the material fully. I got overwhelmed and discouraged, but I still kept trying to learn. It was exhausting. At the end, after my best efforts to learn as much as possible, I ended up sort of memorizing about 10 to 20% of the material that we needed for the exam. And then 3 days before the exam, I hit a wall. I realized that I couldn't learn it all, that logic and effort was never going to be enough in my case. So I turned to the one thing that I have always leaned on when I had nothing else, and that is faith. And I started consciously manifesting. I constantly visualized myself walking out of the exam room successful. I repeated affirmations like, everything is happening for my highest good. The question I choose will help me finish my exam successfully. It's okay. I'm okay. Whatever is supposed to happen will happen. It was the one thing I held on to when everything else felt like I was sinking. And now let's fast forward to the day of the exam. When I walked into the room, I felt surprisingly calm. Yes, my stomach was flipping and I felt the nerves, but deep down I trusted that I have done what I could and that the universe will meet me halfway. Each time I reached into the hat to draw a question, I closed my eyes and in my head I repeated this affirmation. This question is helping me pass this exam successfully. And in every subject, every single time I pulled a question that I could answer. Sometimes it was one I barely remembered, and sometimes it was one I fully memorized, but it was always the right one. I always had an answer. Even in my English exam, I couldn't speak English at all and I didn't know the grammar. It was only 1 out of 20 that I fully memorized and that I was so confident answering. I memorized it from a script that my brother translated for me from Czech. It was amazing. I recited it fluently. I had an American accent and my teacher could not believe it. And then I failed the second part, which was the grammar, but they combined both parts, so it was all right. So I passed. I passed it all. Not with perfect scores, but I did it. And I was and still am so grateful for that. You know, there were students that failed that day. They were brilliant girls who studied for years, but they were so stressed, so focused on failure. I guess they spiraled. And yes, I heard some people talked afterwards saying that it was unfair that I passed and other people failed, that I didn't deserve it. And honestly, I understand where they were coming from. I really do. But here is what I believe. Life isn't black and white. And sometimes what looks unfair on the surface has so many layers underneath it. And also, what you focus on expands. What you believe, whether consciously or not, influences your outcome. And if you are drowning in fear, not even your preparation can save you. Now, this experience taught me something I will never forget. that your focus is everything, that your mind is more powerful than you think, that your emotions and thoughts are deeply connected, and together they shape your reality. But I also want to be honest with you. As much as this story is about faith and manifestation, it was also a very stressful 5 years. Not all of it. You know, there were moments of fun, friendship, laughter, and growth, but a lot of it was hard, and I wouldn't want to glamorize the struggle. So if you are in school now, please don't just take this as a sign to manifest your way through it and skip all your classes. Instead, study. Teach your brain to learn. Stretch your thinking. Explore new subjects. Make new neural connections. That's how you learn to think critically, dream boldly, and create your own reality from an empowered place. You can absolutely use manifestation. It's powerful and it works. But don't forget to meet the universe halfway. Show up, try, grow, learn. And when you combine belief with effort, that's where the magic really kicks in. So yes, I finished school. Against the odds. And because I did, I was able to leave my country and explore the world later on that year. Well, not the whole world, England to be precise, but to me it was the world. A whole new life opened up for me, and I have stayed here ever since. And I finally learned English language after all those years. My English teacher would be proud. And that led to many more manifestation stories, including how my boyfriend and I manifested the perfect place to stay in England, which I will share someday. So if you are curious or you love hearing real stories about how mindset and energy shape your life, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Now, thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening, for watching, and for walking this journey with me. If this story touched you, even a little, please like the video, leave me a comment, or share it with someone who needs a bit of hope right now. And remember, you are so much more powerful than you have been taught to believe. Sending you so much love, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!